Hello and welcome to the special program on the World Cup special. You have the biggest show, you've got the biggest team, biggest stadium and the bigger guests that are joining us. Right now the news from Ahmedabad is that India has won the toss and put Pakistan into bat. India will be fielding. There's one change in the team. Ishan Kishan has gone back and in comes Shubman Gill, the classy opener from India. Well, we've got some of the stats here, and joining me is Tasmin Granger, the Zimbabwean international player who's been playing for Zimbabwe for 15 years, has a little bit of experience of the World Cup pressure and the big matches. Right now, we're going to talk straight about our India stats here. Let's look at the stats right now. This is going to be India's 8th match, and India has won all the matches, all the 7 matches. Over to you. The first match and the last match, what have been the changes India has seen? Yeah.
Definitely, obviously, changing conditions. They started playing all the way from playing in Australia right down 2019, last game in England. The thing that stands out for me the most is probably in the first couple of years, the way it's always been a close contested game. So it's definitely a setup for something interesting. Something to take into consideration is Pakistan hasn't been back in India since 2011. So it's going to be
Let's
something different for them.
Let's importantly talk about the last match, which India won by 124 runs margin. Do you think the average runs per victory is 52 runs, but it's been improving every match? Do you think the same is going to happen today?
Definitely, I think it makes a big difference a lot of the times over the period of time, and you see how it changes. 124 runs, definitely a big total. But like we said, today is a whole other different game. Possibly teams are coming out today. I think Pakistan's not even playing with this in mind today. Absolutely. Because we heard what Baba Azam said yesterday. He said that he's looking to break a couple of records today and break the chain.
Well, absolutely. Let's look at what Pakistan would be doing differently. Let's go on to the next slide and see how things have changed up. Again, of course, these are exclusive images and stats that have come for our fans out here. Let's look at the next slide, please. Well, one interesting fact here. This is important, ladies and gentlemen. You have to look at how a team plays in the first part, which is 1 to 10th. The second is 11 to 40, and the third is 41 overs to 50 overs. But first, Tasmin, let's take a step back and talk about the first 10 overs and the comparison between India and Pakistan. When you look at India, has scored 2,400 runs, odd runs, as compared to Pakistan's 1,200 runs. And this is what we're talking about, all the matches India and Pakistan have played after the Cricket World Cup in 2019. So it's recent record, it's recent history, and this is what we're looking at. Tasmin, you want to talk about the first to 10th over, how India has the supremacy and also the average and the strike rate. More importantly is the strike rate in the first 10 overs as compared to Pakistan's 87 to 74. Could you kindly explain?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. India's done well in the past couple of years. Obviously, we did speak about their aggression this morning to say that they've done a lot better in maximizing on the fact that there's 2 fielders outside the circle allowed in the first 1 to 10 overs.
Right.
So what you'll find is where India has managed to capitalize probably better than Pakistan is manipulating the field. They look to hit hard on the ground, to hit gaps. If not, they're hitting hard. They're looking to go over just the fielders that are within your 30-yard circle.
Well, when we look at the other part, the 11 to 40th over, this is very interesting. This is for our viewers to understand how Pakistan plays and how they've been playing in the last 4 years. When you look at something like this, India has scored in the second gap 683 runs as compared to 43.430. It's like 4,300 scored that they've managed to put together in the last 4 years, in all the matches they've played from 11th over to the 40th over. Now what it tells you is an important part. India has a strike rate of 91, Pakistan has a strike rate of 87. But more importantly, Tasmin, and this is where the players and people need to know that this is 42 as compared to 46. The average of Pakistan really jumps up.
Yep.
And how it jumps up and why it does, you've got to explain as a player.
I think personally what Pakistan manages to do a lot better than India here is probably run hard. push the ones into twos, twos into threes. It's the conversion for me that happens in this period, because at this stage of the game, the field is spread, so you have more fielders out on the boundary. Probably India is still looking to go hard. We know they play the aggressors game here, and maybe they're not as well weighing out the odds as well of the risk, because they do have a deeper batting order as opposed to Pakistan. You're looking maybe probably in the 11th, 40th over. Pakistan still probably has one of their top 3 batters in there as well. So they're probably the one steering the ship, and they have guys batting around them. That's what will tend to bring your average up a lot higher as compared to your strike rate for India.
Well, the other important factor here is India loses too many wickets right in this particular group, and that's why the average comes down. And when you look at Pakistan, Pakistan holds on to their middle order. That's why you have Babar Azam scoring in tons. That's why you have the other batters scoring in tons, and that's why it looks so good as compared to India. But in a one-day match, your strike rate is more important than your average. Am I right in that modern day cricket?
That's definitely the case these days, because the game has evolved to the state where we're no longer just scoring 300 pass scores. We've seen South Africa recently score 425 as well. So guys are looking to go bigger, because sometimes runs on the board alone, being pass score, is just not good enough.
Then we come on to the last batch, which are the important, this is the most important part, which you have last 10 overs, how they score, how India actually builds up the momentum. Of course, this is the time where your pinch hitter comes in, your 6th, 7th and 8th down comes in. So we're going to explain that. Look at how India has managed to surpass not only Pakistan but most of the other teams. When we look here, it's 2,400 runs as compared to 1,300 odd runs of Pakistan. What it says is that India's average is also low, but at the same time, the batting absolutely explodes. Interestingly, again, a word of caution for the Indian team. Here when you see Pakistan is not far behind. They produce shots which are absolutely impeccable, innovative stuff, and they manage to reach out to the boundary, because India has a strike rate of 124 and Pakistan has a strike rate of 123. This is what it looks like. Again, very important part here when you look at balls per boundary. How many balls does it take to score a boundary? It starts from 1.6, which is good. Then it goes down, because in the middle overs people consolidate, and at the end again India is little cautious. Your views on the last 10 overs? Tasmin, just explain it to our viewers.
So definitely, like you said, the strike rates are not too far apart from each other. Yeah, basically because I think where India manages to have an higher average as compared to Pakistan is because they do have the depth. We've spoken about this. Number 1 to 8 are your classic proper batters from the top down to your all-rounders. Whereas in Pakistan's case, if they don't have one of their top 3 batting through, then it becomes a bit harder for them and they do have to err with a bit of caution. But yet again, not taking anything away from Pakistan finishers at the end, they are not afraid to free out their arms, hence why they are sitting at 100.
Absolutely, they're not afraid to free their arms, create those innovative tape ball cricket shots, which you only find it in Pakistan. We'll go on to the next slide and talk about from here how the individual players look at. So I'll request, so Pakistan has come into bat, and now let's look at the bowlers. Now this is where the Indian bowlers, and again these are 1 to 10 overs in the ODIs since 2022. Last 2 years data you would find here of all the top Indian bowlers in this World Cup squad, how many they have bowled, what is the economy rate. So startup on the team is Mohammad Shami. Of course, Shami, according to Dev, is one of the better bowlers. He's the most successful Indian bowlers here. He's got balls per dot is 1.3, absolutely phenomenal. He's got balls per boundary is 7.2, which means that it takes batters a little longer to hit boundaries for him. Mohammad Siraj follows up with 19 innings. Of course, that also talks about how many number of ODI matches they played since 2022. Jasprit Bumrah, only 10. You must remember, he's come back from an injury. So when you do Siraj and Bumrah's comparison, it's 4.83 and 4.47. Balls per dot is absolutely impeccable that they have, and this is how it grows. Again, you've got to realize that Shardul Thakur has played 11, Ravichandra Ashwin has played 3, Jadeja 1 and Kuldeep Yadav 1. So when you look at these stats, what does it tell you? That you've got a formidable, the frontline seamers, and at the same time, you've got the spinners coming in as well. I'd request my colleagues to go on to the next slide and talk about the other part of it. Tasmin, what about the bowlers?
For me, especially this part, particularly, I'm gonna swing back to the other slide. A lot of depth for India, a lot of experience for India in their seam bowling department, which will obviously come in handy. There's something called big match temperament.
Absolutely. Big match temperament is something which Jasprit Bumrah has it. We are only analyzing two of his matches, and let's see what he's done. He's angled in the left-hander batter at 2.9%. Bounces he's bowled at 2.9%. In-swingers to a left-arm batter is 26.5%. Outswing is 17.6%. Again, this is where the difference is. You've got to explain, for a left-hander batter, 35% of his delivery in the World Cup. Yep. He's been bowling as seaman. Explain to our viewers looking at the camera what it means.
So definitely what it is for Jasprit Bumrah, obviously this is him. To a left-hander, you need to understand already he's got an unorthodox action already that he produces. So to the left-handers, him swinging the ball, obviously singing the ball back in, is because he has the ability to come around the wicket, and he has the ability to go over the wicket as well. So at the end of the day, for me, I think he's going to be really top class here. You want to give him the new ball. You want to give him the chance to be able to pitch it up and see what he can do with it.
So when you talk about the seam and the swing, Jasprit Bumrah has in swing at 26% and seam in at 35%. What does it talk about the left-hander batter? And when you compare it with a right-hander batter, it is 50%. Again, ladies and gentlemen, these are the records, data of the two matches that Jasprit Bumrah has bowled. What is the number of percentage of bowls that he's done? The highest is in swing. Then you go on to the seam-in for a right-hander. Then he mixes up his deliveries. Just take us through for a right-hander what he talks about.
So for the right-hander, you have a ball swinging in. Because he's got an orthodox action, what happens is he actually gets the ball to move in the air towards the right-hander.
Right.
And when it hits the ground, he's got it moving away or either moving in. More comfortable to the left-handers, moving it back into the left-handers, because he would have moved it away from the left-handers in the air. So here, ideally, Jasprit Bumrah is looking to get people playing the first line, pushing the ball back to the slips, or possibly using his misdrive to come back into play.
Well, this is what we are talking about. We are deconstructing, demystifying, and telling the fans what this game of cricket and how they are going, in which trajectory. Again, you must realize this is very close to what you have, the heat map in the football games across the world. This is what we are doing. First time live on any news channel, any television in India. This is what we are looking at. Next, we move on to the next slide where we talk about the other aspects of the game. Again, you must realize that these are all current data. It's got nothing to do with history. It's got nothing to do with the historical way how things are there. Let's look at the other big bowler of Pakistan, Shaheen Shah Afridi. We'll quickly take through what he's done, how he's done. Over the wicket, right arm bowlers, what his economy rate is, 5.1. His balls per dot is 32 and balls per boundary is 8, which means that he's a good bowler, but here I think somewhere he's lost his rhythm, somewhere he's lost his way. You want to explain it to our viewers?
So definitely, probably over the wicket to the right-hander, you see he has a higher balls per boundary count. His total gets less and less as it gets on, because I'd say he's used the shorter ball to good effect for me versus the right-handers. He is a tall guy already. So normally what someone would bowl back of a length on a standard height of a 5'11" player is not going to be the same back of a length on a standard height to a person that's 6 foot. In this case, in Shaheen Afridi's case.
Does he skid the ball? Does he make it difficult for players to come in? How does it happen?
I think definitely automatically once you get a guy that's taller, most of the times what you decide is a good ball, you find would pop up on you. But then again, it's going to go down to what the pitch is like, green top, no top, whatever the case is. But if you go down and you check on him over the wicket to left-handers, he's got an economy of 5.8, as well as his boundary count per ball is 6.8. So he gets a chance to be able to get the ball back into the left-handers and see what he can give out of it.
Well, we move on to the next slide and understand where this is all going. Again, to our fans out there, again, we must realize this is an exclusive data that we managed to put together and create something of trying to demystify what goes behind this. Again, Shadab Khan, you want to talk about his delivery type. We managed to completely deconstruct it. What is the flipper, full toss, googly, leg breaks? If you see a right arm leg break bowler, he's got a leg break of 52%. What it means, that's his stock ball of right arm. But he's also got his flipper, he's also got his googly. So googly is 38%. Again, for a right arm spinner, leg spinner, if you have that kind of variance of 38%, what does it talk about?
This tells you that it's a ball he's comfortable bowling. It's a ball he's got high successes with as well. You can check on his economy, as well as it's given him purchase this World Cup thus far for me. So I think for me, as a leg spinner, it's good. The fact that he can bowl 50% of his natural stock delivery, you don't actually know when he's going to pull the googly out.
The other part is, you also know, if India is batting, India also knows that after every 3 deliveries, he's going to bowl you a googly in the over, isn't it? That's what he's done in this World Cup. And these are all data from this tournament. Both the matches that he's played 38% as googly, 5.2% as flipper. But again, in a leg spinner, you also give some kind of a full toss, which is like a length ball, which is like
straight on.
Absolutely. We move on to the next bowler and the next stat here. Well, Shadab Khan. Again, that's his stroke type. That's what he plays. And let's look at the stats right now. And these are the stats from all the matches that he's played. 2 matches he's played here. Look at the deliveries he's faced. Look at the pull shots. The number of runs that he's managed to score from 3 deliveries, 11 runs for a pull shot is exactly what we are looking at.
Definitely.
Look at the cover drive that he's managed to hit. This talks about that he's comfortable playing the cover drive, the pull shot, the flick, and the push for a single. That means he's a very busy player who talks about just rotating strike, isn't it? Just explain our viewers.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I think the money's down here in the cover drive as well as his push. That will tell you on a push shot, that will tell you that he's not afraid to use his feet. That will tell you he's more than willing to get down the track and just punch it for one and just keep the scoreboard rolling as well. On the cover drive for me, I think that's definitely, on the cover drive for me, I think that's definitely a big deal because you want guys pitching the ball up to you, you want guys bowling a lot fuller to you, and it's shown in his stats that he's more than comfortable to pull out the shot.
Well, we spoke about this is what it looks like. I'll go to my colleague Dev Tyagi, who's in the studio right now. Dev, what is the batting overall looking like? Who are the top 3 batters that Pakistan has?
They have Imamul Haq, they have Babar Azam, they have Mohammad Rizwan, and these are to me the 3 top unfavourite batsmen who can actually impact the score. You need to understand that Babar has a lot to prove because he's just not been amongst the kind of runs that we are accustomed from him. Mohammad Rizwan, the man behind the sensational 131 not out, holds the key in this game. Will he be playing the role of the aggressor? Can he actually provide momentum if at all the Pakistani team loses early wickets? And also big occasion for Imamul Haq, who's otherwise scored several centuries in the ODI format, to make his presence felt against such a mighty opponent that Pakistan have.
Well, those were the stats, those were the figures. Thank you very much for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.